Thank you. I rise today to talk about the new regulations President Obama proposed this week that are obviously aimed at the coal industry. These regulations go far beyond the president's campaign to put coal out of business. These regulations target energy to make it less affordable and less abundant. Once again, we're seeing how consumers, students, low-income families are getting priced out of the economy because of a government policy. The more the government dictates and promotes a one-size-fits-all solution, the more it hits folks in their pocketbooks. Mr. President, I don't think I've ever met a single person who said they were anti-environment. I can't think of a single person that likes dirty water or polluted skies. But if you listen to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, you'd assume that Republicans have made it their life's work to kill the planet. It makes for great sound bites, and it can help rally their base. It does not, however, contribute much to the discussion at hand or make much of a difference. Actions have consequences, and these proposed regulations will have a real, tangible, measurable impact on the economy at a time when job creation should be our focus. The truth is that coal powers America. Almost 70% of all energy produced in this country came from the ground, and most of it was coal. Even electric cars are powered by coal. But sadly, you won't see that on a bumper sticker. That's what I'd call a convenient truth. If we were to shut down our coal facilities for a single day, I think even my colleagues from the other side of the aisle would quickly be calling for these plants to be turned back on. In Wyoming, of course, coal is one of the largest employers. It provides high-paying jobs for our residents as it does to folks across the country. The revenue from energy production even provides scholarships for our students to get an education. For our state, coal isn't just an energy source. It's a livelihood. The president may want us to run from coal, but I think we should be running toward it. George Washington Carver developed over 100 products from peanuts. Think what we could do with coal if we spent more time and resources developing our most abundant resource instead of trying to destroy it. American ingenuity would lead to our next energy revolution, but that's not happening. Instead, a project the University of Wyoming and the private sector were working on to produce cleaner energy from coal was canceled because of the president's efforts to kill coal. There was no future in selling the products that would be developed to enhance coal. We've got to trust American ingenuity. No one likes to sit in the dark, and I imagine most folks like being able to run their air conditioning in summer. States that rely on coal for their power see an average of 30% lower electricity costs than states that use other fuels. An increase of that size would be noticed by almost everyone, regardless of political affiliation. We could learn a thing or two from Germany. They're going back to coal after experimenting with alternative sources. They realize coal is readily available and will help them bring energy prices down. Incidentally, coal is the only energy source you can stockpile for emergencies. The plain fact is that this president is proposing a cap and tax proposal that already failed in Congress. My colleagues then realized that it's an extremely expensive idea, and the increased costs will be passed along to consumers who must pay to use more expensive energy sources. But the fact that Congress rejected this proposal seems to have encouraged the administration to yet again sidestep Congress and implement another costly backdoor regulation. Even some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle say they're angry about this tax imposed on the people without approval from their representatives in Congress. I've heard comments about how courageous the president is for finally going after coal. It's not like the president ever hid his disdain for energy that comes from the ground. He's been targeting it with red tape his entire presidency. These ideas are purely political, and it will have a heavy impact on the economy with little or no measurable impact on the environment. As the Wall Street Journal pointed out in a recent editorial, based on the EPA's own carbon accounting, shutting down every single coal-fired power plant tomorrow and replacing them with a zero-carbon source would reduce the Earth's temperature by about 1/20th of a degree in 100 years. Let me repeat that. The Wall Street Journal pointed out in a recent editorial, based on the EPA's own carbon accounting, shutting down every single coal-fired power plant tomorrow and replacing them with zero-carbon sources would reduce the Earth's temperature by about 1/20th of a degree Fahrenheit in 100 years. When government tries to pick winners and losers in any part of the market, everyone loses. Just look at how great our healthcare system's doing. If we as a body allow the president to get his way on this regulation, we're looking at billions in annual economic losses. Hundreds of thousands of people will lose their jobs. We'll burden our businesses with billions of dollars in costs, all of which will be passed on to consumers in the form of double-digit energy price increases. If you're elderly, a low-income or a middle-class family, or you're living on a fixed income, are you willing to pay this energy tax that won't make a dent in CO2 emissions? I can't imagine they would. These new regulations will only succeed in making the pocketbooks lighter and the country darker. When we have affordable, abundant energy, America stays competitive with the rest of the world. Low-cost energy could help create more than 1 million jobs over the next decade. It can lure more investment into American manufacturing. The cost of energy is a big factor in manufacturing. We all say we need to put more people back to work. Driving up costs to consumers and businesses doesn't seem to benefit anyone. I hope my colleagues from the other side of the aisle will join me today and say enough is enough. The president is proposing to leave a permanent stain on our economy. We shouldn't be putting people out of work or driving up energy prices. I hope every American will call on their representatives to oppose this president's proposal. It's our constituents who keep us accountable. The Republican leader has already introduced legislation to stop this reckless move by the EPA, and I'm proud to join him in that effort. Our bill is simple. It requires that the president prove that this rule will not cause job losses, that it will not increase energy rates, and it will not hurt our country's economic output. We know the president's regulations will put America at an economic disadvantage, but I worry that we won't get a vote on this common sense bill or even done as an amendment. And that's a real shame because I think a majority of this body would support the bill and oppose the president's proposal.